Hey there, so this is going to be a little bit of a different video. I want to share something with you that I just invented just a few minutes ago. So it's pretty unrehearsed, and yet this is the kind of thing that I do all the time. I move and I observe what I'm doing, and then I notice something and I begin to play with it, and something emerges, and I didn't know what that was going to be, but this is often the basis that I'll teach my next class from. So I thought it would be cool, kind of in the middle of an idea as I make the video, and to try to capture what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit how the different steps, it's basically we're going to make it like a miniature class here, but I'm also going to be talking about my process because I'd also like to demonstrate something about just the approach that begins in a state of basically pure improvisation. So I just turned off my music, but I had some music. I'm just feeling good, having a good time, responding, expressing myself. And then once I'm in that state, this is something that I came up with. Okay, so anyway, the first thing that you do is you stand, and you can just move a little bit. As I said, I came up with this while I was moving, but just feel that you're standing. I have my feet a little bit apart. Maybe you're moving back and forth, but you don't have to be doing this particular movement. But just get a sense that you're stable, you're grounded, and yet you have the ability to shift your position over your base of support to some degree. You're not tied to being in one place. All right. And then just bring your two arms up in front of you like this and let them go down. But at a certain moment, you can do this with either arm. One arm is going to catch the other. So I caught my right arm with the left arm, and then you can let them swing again, and you throw them up, and then one catches the other. And so just do this a few times in one combination. And you can take as much time as you want in between. You can see I'm sort of letting this movement this kind of just continuous motion be there, but every once in a while you come back into catching one arm with the other. So obviously, in this case, my left arm is more active, and in the moment that I catch it, I'm trying to let the right arm actually be very passive. I don't suggest you think of it as dead weight, but really you're just giving a momentary vacation to all of the muscles all along the length of your arm, even up into your shoulder and the side of your neck. That might be the idea, even though it's just a brief moment of holding the arm like that. Okay, so at this point, and this is a process that is very much just the way that the tradition of awareness through movement, as invented and created, developed by Moshe Feldenkrais. You do something like this, especially if it's one-sided, and then you pause. And so maybe here I'll even get a little quieter, just stand, and I can feel that my right arm, which I was catching, it hangs from my back very differently than my left arm, which was doing the catching. Okay, so that's just interesting to me. I might turn to look over one shoulder and the other to see if that feels different. I was able to notice a little something there that was interesting. Okay, so then I'm just going to switch. I'm just going to catch the other one, catch the other one, give the same experience to the second side. And now here again we can talk about something that's very general. So I did something on the left and I did something on the right, right? And again, as I talk, you'll notice for a while I'm going to stop and give myself a break. I don't want any of these things that I'm repeating to really be, the repetition isn't the point so much as many opportunities to notice new things as I do the movement. So anyway, I could talk about a lot of those things, but the point I was making here was I've done something on the one side and I had an experience and I stopped and I felt something was different. Now I'm doing the same thing to the other side. And so it's important to notice that phrase, the same thing to the other side. It's the same thing, but it's not the same side, and that means that, in fact, maybe it's not entirely the same thing. We fool ourselves a little by just thinking, well, it's like that and it's like that. No. How do I experience myself when I do it on this side, and how do I experience myself when I do it on that side? Now the other arm has to be passive or active, the two roles have switched. And especially maybe just because of what I just did, but in this moment, it's feeling to me like the left arm doesn't want to be caught so much. It's still holding itself up away from the right arm. Okay, so that's interesting. Now, I might just go back and forth. Once on the one side, once on the other side. But this doesn't mean that I think I've evened things out. In fact, it only highlights for me in some ways the difference. But it does give me that opportunity to say, a simple question, just first of all, is which one do I like better? Feels a little more comfortable here, or it feels a little more comfortable. Oh yeah, I could just hang out like this. I could sit here and have a nice breath and feel okay right here. But if I go like this, somehow just being here is more work. It's more effort. What is that? Well, let me try again. Very good question to ask in any situation like this. What's going on with the length of my spine? Well, okay, it feels pretty long, pretty good. Oh my goodness, I just sank. I could feel the moment I caught my left arm with my right, I just sank. The middle of my back went a little backwards, the top of my head came a little away from the ceiling, and I could feel down through my legs to the floor just a little more heaviness, a little more sense of being in the floor. Okay, let's forget about all this for a moment and just take another rest. But the point is, there's a series of steps here, and yet, because I'm improvising, I'm just relying on some tried and true things. So the left-right comparison. This is a tried and true thing that I could try in many other situations. But when I was listening to music, I wanted to make, well, let's put it this way. I was doing something that maybe wouldn't be so easy to do, and then later I realized, oh, if the arm was lighter, that would help. So this practice of holding the arm, you can see that I'm lifting the arm higher now, and I'm sort of sliding it through the other hand. Now, this is kind of odd, but it's just this almost neurological message from one hand to the other arm. Hey, I'm here, don't worry, I'm supporting you. And the second arm isn't completely supporting, but to lift this arm to the ceiling on its own, well, it's clear I have to be more organized through the whole length of my right side. When I bring the other arm up, it's like, well, it's, I don't know, it's something different, but it gives a certain sense of support. And I'm just playing with my arm here a little bit, so I can do that on the other side. Does it feel better if I turn a little here, a little there, giving myself a little self-touch, which is always nice. But the thing that I was doing when I was listening to music earlier was I had started taking my arms, and I'd sort of gotten to the place of bringing the arms high up in the air through a bit of momentum. And one of the things that was happening is I would get an arm all the way up so that it was possible for me to touch the upper arm with the side of my head. Okay, so you can think of that for a while. And I'm doing this quickly, but another thing I could do is slow it down, maybe bring my arm out a little in front of me with the upper arm out here so I can support this arm again. But I'm creating the shape where my upper arm is close enough to my head that I could make that contact another way. And so I reach with my head a little bit, and this makes me aware of a certain part of my spine. I could take my head all the way out to my hand just for fun, and then I start feeling, where else can I touch my head to my hand? This must be awful through the microphone. I didn't even think about that. Oh well, maybe I'll have to edit that afterwards. Okay, so then when I go to bring my arm up to the side of my head, I can also sense my head going to the arm. It's like they're coming together. And you just see that it's kind of inviting a whole movement through my spine. So now I'm going up on my right foot, I'm letting the left one come away, and then I might swing again. And all this momentum, what happened next? Well, again, this was I was just pretty much dancing, but this momentum, you can see it's pulling me through space. And the left foot here, in this case, let me back up a little bit, maybe you'll see more of me. The back leg comes away from the floor. So, right? And now it's like, oh, I'm balancing on one leg. How do I do that? Well, the momentum got me there, and even if I don't know what I'm doing, if I can just hold on for 1 second, I can experience that shape. I'm up here, and then I'm gonna maybe fall, but okay, I got to experience it. So it's, anyway, let's do it on the other side. Let's just see. Okay, not as stable, clearly, the first time. And it could be because I'm always not so stable on this leg. That's one possibility, something I might think about. Probably an ongoing question in my personal practice. Maybe you have a sense of one leg that you favor over the other. So you say, oh, is it because it's always like this? Or is it just because today we started in the other direction? We got really used to doing this. And then we went to the other one and we hadn't practiced so much. Well, okay. Anyway, I can maybe try to figure out a rhythm where I go side to side. Swing my arms, touch my head to one arm, touch my head to the other arm. You can see I'm lifting my feet up off the ground now, right? Great. Okay. So now I might just notice, what did I just do? Oh, okay. I took both arms into the air. I had one touching my head, and I had one foot in the air. But it was a particular combination. If we got more specific, I would say my right arm, my left foot, opposite sides of the body. So then I might get curious, what if I lifted the other foot in this combination? And so even getting there, I can't go like this because this is the foot I'm trying to lift. So I have to do it a different way, And I don't even really know what that way is. I just do it and I find out. And then I say, all right, let me go back to what I was doing. But I am taking my head to the right arm. That hasn't changed. But sometimes I lift the right leg, sometimes I lift the left leg. Okay, so can I go and do one and do the other? What is the way to get between these two shapes in a way that I don't break my rhythm too much? And I'm finding this kind of forward-back kind of triangular pathway. Didn't know that was going to be the pathway, but that's the one that worked, that felt safe. Okay. Great, now I have another piece of the puzzle. Once again, I can just take it over to the other side if I like. So, all right, I'm lifting my right leg as I put my head against my left arm, but let me see, how do I do it? Oh yeah, I can go a little more towards the front. I can stay over the right leg and I can lift the left, and then I can go back and forth. Very good. Okay, at this point, I could go a lot of directions, but what I just did was 4 different variations of putting the head against one arm and lifting one leg. And so I could, and I'm not going to do this in the video, but I could imagine any 2 of those 4 going in between them, because even though I know how to do each one, I don't necessarily know how each one takes me to the other. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably enough for this video, but there's just, you take an idea like this and you could do it so many other ways. I like to throw in an extra thing at the end, so I will just show you one more way that you could consider this, just because I was doing something earlier like this, but I won't go on and on. I could just say at a certain point, gosh, all this lifting and staying on one leg, this is rough. I'm getting tired. And I could just go, oh, look at this, there's a wall over here. And now suddenly I have support from the wall. My spine can do different things more easily because the wall is there for me. And I could keep exploring, and then I could come back out into the middle of the floor again, so on and so forth. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. It was fun to make this video. Like I said, I've never done a video particularly like this. But tell me what you think. Maybe I'll make more of these sort of spontaneous style videos. Anyway, this is how I think, this is how I teach, and I've got a lot of cool programs. You'll find them at movewithseth.com. There should be a link underneath. At the moment I'm making this video, I have a series coming up called Breathing for Resilience, but if you see this later, I'm going to have other cool programs you can check out. So please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe and comment and stay in touch. See you next time.